It was supposed to be a normal visit. Sunday morning, the same steel chairs, the same cold room. Chanel sat across from her husband Dexter. The thick plexiglass between them had become part of their routine, like the awkward phone receiver she held to her ear, waiting for his smile. But today, something felt off. Dexter wasn't making eye contact. He looked tired, nervous. And then, she saw it. He reached under the table and passed a folded piece of paper, not to Chanel, but to the female correctional officer standing nearby. It was quick, too quick for most to notice, but Chanel saw everything. Her hand froze midair, her mouth opened slightly. That paper, what could it be? She'd waited for this moment for 2 weeks, got up at 5 a.m., took 2 buses, dressed up, even brought his favorite snack for the vending machine. She'd been there for him through it all, paid his rent when he got locked up, checked in on his mother when no one else would, answered every call, sent money when she didn't have it to spare. And now this. Just 30 seconds later, a scream. Metal scraped across the floor. Someone shouted. Then another shout. Inmates turned. Guards rushed. 2 figures collided, one in orange, the other in gray. A fist flew. A tray clattered. And then, silence. One man lay motionless. Another was bleeding. The guard who had taken the note was gone. And Chanel. She sat frozen in place, staring through the glass, her hands trembling. She'd just watched her husband pass a note to a woman in uniform, and now someone was dead. She didn't know what the note said, but whatever it was, it started something no one could stop. She waited for him for 2 years, paid his rent, took care of his mother, but one glance changed everything. And what Chanel did next shocked the entire state prison system. Before we go further, let us know in the comments where you're watching from. We'd love to hear from you. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss any of our upcoming videos. Chanel never imagined her worst betrayal would come from across a prison table. She thought she knew the man she married, thought the bars between them were just temporary. That loyalty would mean something. But when Dexter passed that folded note to Officer Tasha Jenkins, everything changed. 3 lives, 1 deadly visit, and a chain reaction no one could stop. Chanel, the wife who waited, Dexter, the inmate who played the game, and Tasha, the guard who stepped out of line. Who really caused the death that day in visitation? Was it a lover's quarrel that turned deadly? A manipulation that spiraled beyond control? Or something planned? And why is Chanel now behind bars herself? She wasn't part of the staff. She didn't hold the keys. She wasn't even in the room when the fatal blow landed. But now she's the one facing a judge. This wasn't just a love triangle. It was a slow-motion car crash with only one way out. A note exchanged under the table. Whispers caught on grainy CCTV. Courtroom sketches showing 3 people, each staring in a different direction. Letters scribbled in code. Mugshots with hollow eyes. Was the affair between Dexter and Tasha a lapse in judgment, or part of a longer game? Did Chanel uncover something that was never meant to be seen? And when that truth came to light, did she make a choice no one expected? Because Chanel started as the victim. But she didn't stay that way. She was a hard-working woman from a working-class neighborhood, waitressing, juggling 2 jobs, always dreaming of a better future. That future materialized when she met Dexter. He was charming, street-smart, with a confidence that drew her in. He spoke of small business plans, of support for his mother. He promised a future beyond the broken streets and crime that had shadowed his past. But then came the convictions, fraud and assault. He claimed he was wrongfully convicted, part of a flawed system where more than 4% of prisoners may be innocent. Chanel believed him. She sent him money for appeals and legal fees. She kept his dreams alive from the outside. Every week, she'd ride the bus for hours, snapshots of her life flashing by, as she carried letters and commissary requests. He, locked away, clung to her words, her unwavering faith. But then, Tasha Jenkins arrived. a guard in her early 30s, new at the facility. She was known for being uncommonly friendly, genuine smiles, small kindnesses. She wasn't like the others. B-roll, social media photos showed Tasha's vibrant life, coffee shop selfies, volunteer events. Another cut, romantic texts on a phone screen, sweet intimate messages, unsigned, mysterious. Reenactment footage, Chanel's hopeful face as she slides love letters under a plexiglass barrier, Dexter's hand reaching, once to her, now to Tasha. In letters unseen, Dexter and Tasha exchanged confidences, frustrations, maybe more. But it was news to Chanel. While Chanel visited every week, fidelity was not enough to contain the private world forming under the prison lights. But while Chanel was visiting every week, Dexter had other visitors. Behind prison walls, nothing stays hidden for long. It started small. Dexter would compliment Officer Tasha Jenkins during routine checks, harmless flattery. A smile held a second too long, a scribbled thank you note for a favor she wasn't supposed to do. Then came the sympathy plays. My girl's slipping. She don't visit like she used to. Feels like no one's in my corner but you. Tasha, new, lonely, maybe looking for something herself, began crossing lines. She passed along snacks, allowed Dexter a few extra minutes in the yard. Eventually, she snuck in a burner phone. Meanwhile, on the outside, Chanel was picking up on something she couldn't explain. The phone calls got shorter. Dexter, once full of stories, now answered with clipped words and long silences. His voice used to light up when she called. Now it barely flickered. One visit, she watched him lean in toward Tasha as she passed. Their hands brushed, quick, almost unnoticeable, but not to Chanel. She confronted him. What was that? Dexter didn't miss a beat. You're paranoid, baby. Prison messes with people's heads. You need to chill. She wanted to believe him, but something had changed. She felt it in her gut. Then came the weekday. Chanel showed up unannounced, midweek, not her usual Sunday. She told the front desk she forgot something on her last visit. The guard at reception looked confused, then shrugged and let her in. She walked down the corridor, the air heavier than usual. She knew the route by heart. Left turn, vending machine, second door. What she saw through the glass stopped her cold. Dexter, Tasha, alone, too close, smiling. Tasha's hand was on his arm. Chanel froze, rage rising from her stomach like fire. She burst into the room before anyone could stop her. Voices raised. A chair overturned. Someone screamed. Tasha reached for her belt. What she pulled out wasn't standard issue. Some say it was a shank, others say it was a small firearm smuggled in weeks earlier. But by the time guards arrived, it didn't matter. One person was bleeding out on the concrete. Another was handcuffed and screaming. And Chanel? She stood against the wall, staring down at her husband. Her hands shaking, her future gone. But the real shock? Who they blamed for the murder. The prison went into immediate lockdown. Sirens echoed down the halls, doors slammed shut, visitation privileges revoked. The warden issued a full statement to the press, but the damage was done. A death inside the visitation room was rare. A death involving a correctional officer? Even rarer. And the suspect list was painfully short. Chanel was arrested before she even left the facility. The guards put her in cuffs, right there on the spot. She didn't resist. She didn't speak. Just stared at the floor, lips pressed into a line. Outside, the media circled like vultures. Wife stabs rival in prison love triangle. Correctional officer attacked in inmate affair. One dead, 2 women behind bars. But the truth wasn't so simple. Dexter told investigators that Chanel snapped first, that she stormed in, unprovoked, and lunged at Tasha with a weapon. But then, the story changed. In a second interview, Dexter said Tasha escalated it. That Chanel had only come to talk, and that Tasha lost it when she saw Chanel walk in. Each version fit just enough to make both women look guilty. Meanwhile, surveillance footage from the visitation room, Gone, corrupted, unavailable, a technical error. But inside those prison walls, people talk. Inmates started whispering in holding cells, on yard walks, encoded kites passed between cells. Dexter was running both of them. And investigators started to agree. They uncovered a string of hidden letters from Tasha to Dexter, scented, emotional, clearly romantic. One letter ended with the words, "I'd do anything for you. Anything." They also found financial records. $500 deposits made to Dexter's commissary account, some from Chanel's address, others from Tasha's. He was getting paid by both. In separate interrogation rooms, the pressure mounted. Chanel held firm, said she never touched anyone, that she came in, saw something wrong, and froze. Tasha, however, cracked. In hour 3 of questioning, she folded her arms, took a breath, and said just enough to change everything. She admitted to sneaking in the burner phone. She admitted to bringing in the weapon but claimed it was for protection. Said she was scared of Chanel, scared of what Dexter might do. But there was one thing she hadn't told anyone. Not her supervisor, not Dexter, not even her lawyer. Tasha was pregnant. And suddenly, every motive shifted. It took months to untangle the motive. At the heart of it, 2 women, both convinced of one thing, that Dexter loved them. Tasha believed their relationship was real, that what they had behind those concrete walls was more than just stolen glances and hidden letters. She pictured life on the outside, Dexter working a job, her raising their child, a new beginning. Chanel believed something else, that she and Dexter were still building their life, that the money orders, the court appeals, the endless visits, they meant something. She held on to the memories before prison, the promises he made, the ring he gave her. But what neither woman knew was that Dexter had promised both of them the same dream. 2 futures, 1 man, and lies in every direction. When the case went to trial, Chanel pleaded not guilty. She said she'd come to the prison to confront Dexter after finding messages on a mutual friend's phone. She said she never touched Tasha, that she backed away, that she was afraid. But Tasha's version was very different. On the stand, Tasha testified that Chanel lunged at her without warning, that Chanel screamed, called her names, and knocked her to the ground. She told the jury, "She attacked me because she couldn't accept he'd moved on." Prosecutors painted the moment with bold strokes. They said it was jealousy, that Chanel had invested years of her life into a man who threw her away, that when she saw him with someone else, someone who was carrying his child, she snapped. The phrase they used, a love triangle gone homicidal. But the defense pushed back. Hard. They presented text messages from Tasha to Dexter, messages where she admitted smuggling in a phone, messages that hinted at much more, about weapons, favors, and blurred lines. Then came the biggest reveal. It wasn't just that Tasha and Chanel had both been manipulated. It was that Dexter played them against each other. Told Tasha Chanel was crazy. Told Chanel Tasha was just doing her job, that he couldn't shake her. Each woman thought they were protecting him. But Dexter? He was protecting himself. And then came the hardest question. In all the chaos, 1 weapon, 3 people in a room, blood on the floor. Who delivered the fatal blow? No prints on the handle, no footage to review, and no one telling the same story twice. For months, the truth stayed buried, lost in contradictions, missing footage, and broken trust. But in the end, the evidence told its own story. A second forensic review uncovered something investigators missed. The wound pattern, the depth, the direction, the force, didn't match the weapon recovered in the visitation room. It matched something else. A homemade blade, sharpened plastic, wrapped in cloth, hidden behind a loose tile in Dexter's cell. Inside the handle, blood from the victim, and skin cells from Dexter. The twist was undeniable. The man who claimed to be caught in the middle had been pulling the strings all along. Prosecutors reversed course. Dexter Moore was charged with murder. Chanel Moore, attempted assault. Tasha Jenkins, smuggling contraband, misconduct, and aiding an inmate. When the verdicts came down, they sent shockwaves through the system. Dexter, life in prison without the possibility of parole. Chanel, 12 years under a plea deal. Tasha, 5 years behind bars. But the story didn't end in the courtroom. Chanel and Tasha were both sent to the same state correctional facility. 2 women, 1 history. They pass each other now in the yard, in the hallway, in the cafeteria. But they've never spoken. Not once. No nod, no acknowledgement, no closure. Just silence. Each woman now carries a different kind of sentence. The weight of betrayal. They each thought they were the only one. Each believed Dexter loved them. Each gave him something they couldn't get back. But behind prison walls, the truth doesn't stay buried for long. Because in the end, Dexter didn't choose either of them. He chose control, and it cost them all everything. In prison, secrets don't stay secret. And love can be just as dangerous as any weapon. In the end, it wasn't just a love triangle. It was a collision course. Between loyalty and lies, between hope and manipulation. Chanel thought she was building a future. Tasha thought she was starting one. But Dexter was playing a game with no rules. So what was it? Love? Manipulation? Or just survival behind the glass and concrete of a broken system? How many secrets can a 6x8 cell really hold before one of them breaks free? Was Chanel a woman scorned or a woman used? She paid his rent, took care of his mother, rode 2 buses every week just to see his face. Did she deserve 12 years behind bars? Or was she just another casualty of a man who knew exactly how to control the room? And Tasha, the rookie officer who crossed the line. Did she fall for a fantasy? Or was she protecting something deeper? All 3 lives changed forever. But only one of them walked away without handcuffs. And even he didn't walk far. So we'll ask you, who do you think was the real mastermind? Was justice served, or was everyone just a pawn in Dexter Moore's game? Let us know in the comments. We read everyone. And if this story shocked you, wait until you hear what happened when another inmate discovered his wife's secret lover was his prison counselor. Subscribe now for more real stories where truth is stranger than fiction. You won't believe what happens next.